Welcome to Peaceful Montessori Homeschooling. I'm Jonathan Prescott and my wife,
Adriana Prescott.
and we're going to be talking today about technology, screen time, and children's development. One of the things that I ran across last year was an article in Business Insider talking about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs raising their kids tech free. And it got me thinking about some things, and I want to hear what. And Adriana, what are your thoughts about technology and kids?
Uh, anyway, I think that really, my true opinion is that technology can be really, really bad. Um, that is one of the reasons why we delayed um, our child's exposure to technology. It can be a really bad thing if you introduce it too soon. And we know this because we're engineers, right?
That's right. And I was just about to ask you, as we're both engineers, a lot of people would say, oh, I bet they're just like loaded with tech.
And first thing, give them technology.
Yeah.
To make them, because the idea, they think that the earlier you're exposed to it, the more proficient you are.
Right.
And that is a myth. That's a complete myth because, first of all, because we're engineers, we know that when we were first introduced, technology was not as advanced, and it was pretty clunky. Okay, so we had to learn it in a different way.
Right.
Okay, even coding was very clunky. You had to write everything from scratch, and now as things have advanced and the software engineers have developed a lot of programming, they have now subroutines already made, and all you have to do is just put them together. It's so user friendly now for kids to even program.
Well, it's a lot of times it's especially with social media and stuff like this. It's tech is very addicting. It's colorful. It shines up in your face and stuff like this, and your focus.
Overstimulation.
It's overstimulation, especially to a developing brain, and it's really psychologists are really quickly learning how dangerous smartphones can be for teenage brains, and they found it like eighth graders have a risk of depression jumps 27% when they use social media frequently. Um, Another statistic from the article is that if a teenager's on their phone for at least 3 hours a day, they're much more likely to be suicidal. Um, and so it's really a lot of negative things involving children's brains, teenage brains, developing into personality.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of technology is as addicting as like crack cocaine is to you know instead of having relationships, instead of having
it robs them from the experiences that they should have in order to develop the other skills that they need.
Right. And so if you have a high functioning child, if you have a gifted child, like we have, the thing is they're more prone to being self-absorbed and focusing on things and what they're reading and doing than they are on personal relationships. So we went a different route.
Yes.
What are some of the things that we first did when she was even a young child, like 2, 3?
Well, first of all, reading, okay, because if you want your child to be immersed in something, it really should be books.
Right.
Okay, so if a child is proficient in reading, but not only that, but really likes to read, okay, if they love to read, they're gonna read everything. They're gonna learn about everything conceptually before they engage on it physically or mentally. It's like,
and really, once the reading proficiency is down, especially at a very early age, everything else comes easy.
Exactly.
Because what happens is the younger those neurotic connections, not neurotic, but the neurons are connected. Neural connections. I meant. Thank you. The more stable they are as far as long term. It's similar to the concept of muscle memory. All right. Our daughter started reading at 10 months old, and so It was surprising to us, but the thing about it is that we saw the effects of early reading on everything else she did. But what are some of the early things? Not necessarily tech, and we'll get into that. But some of the other things we did was, well, we as soon as she was born, like soon after, we got rid of cable TV.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of cable TV because it's kind of useless. There's a lot of terrible programming in there that doesn't really add anything.
Well, it's a lot of stimulation
It's
to
a
that
lot of stimulation
for that brain,
and it's very distracting.
Yep.
Same as it is distracting for adults, it's even more so for children. They get sucked right in because they have a young mind, right?
Yes.
That doesn't have the skills to say, okay, I had enough of TV. No, they get sucked right in. It's very difficult for them to disengage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it robs them of their creativity again. It robs them of their time from having experiences, say, outdoors.
Of course, and really the mechanism is that you have instead of a 2D world where everything is being interacted between the mind and this 2D world. What we want to do is develop a child that has interactions with people with a 3D world where things are tactile, the things you'll be able to touch and manipulate in space, right? About relationships, about human connections. Now, once that's established, once the human connections are made, then you can add on tech at certain developmental stages.
Right. If you don't let the child interact with the spiritual world, if you don't let them do that, then it's gonna be superficial.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, they need to be having experiences with nature. Collecting leaves, collecting rocks, whatever, touching dirt, and of course the societal one, which is engaging with us, the parent, so that they know how to build relationships. That's how a child learns how to function in the world, in the real world. But yes, and the thing is also is that the goal is to make the child independent in their learning. You don't want them to have this aversion to learning because it's being forced all the time. So this is why we did the early reading, because then they become more independent in their learning.
That's a good point. And at first I didn't necessarily see the connection between learning and the development of independent learning. I mean, reading and independent learning. When you read at an early age, reading is still the avenue for data acquisition for the human mind.
Yes.
And so, if you want to learn about how to, build Legos or learn how to program, run programs or something, there is a list of instructions. There's a manual, some books to read.
Exactly, and plus, if we're protecting them from technology, it's not like they can get on the internet or YouTube and learn everything that way.
Right.
Because we're protecting their mind. We need to bring in the books again, because that's how they're going to be able to learn.
Right, and so the developing mind can only take so much at certain stages, and because then if it's too much, then it becomes sensory overload, and it increases stress too much. And as soon as stress increases, creativity it drops dramatically.
And when they love to learn, so all those situations where the child can get bored or impatient somewhere, instead of giving them a phone or a game or whatever, they're just happy to bring books along.
Yes, that's true. And so you can reinforce that. Because the child is going to look at their book. They're out doing something. They're looking at the book, and then they see this other kid about their same age, and they're playing some sort of game on their mother's phone, and so they're thinking, "Wow, that looks really amazing," and it's like then they look down at their book, and so the way we can enforce that, you say, oh, look at those people. They're letting their kid, use their phone. That's like really bad for their mind. I mean, if they get too addicted to the phone, then they're not really learning about their mother and father, and about their about interacting with family and stuff like this, and they're just focused in on the phone. I says, that's not really good, and you can tell the kid this. You say, oh man, that's not really good. I says, I told Annabelle, I says, Annabelle, we're trying to protect your mind from overstimulation. I told her this.
Yes.
Protect your mind from being overstimulated and from information you're not ready for.
Exactly.
Okay? And I said, we will tell you everything. I'll never lie to you, but we'll tell you everything when the time comes. And as you get older, you'll be able to handle more and more information. But you have to trust me to know when that time is and when you're ready for the new information. But there will be times, I told her this also, I says there'll be times when I will say, you're not ready for that new information. And I said, I will tell you. I'll tell you this much, and I'll, say it's something, to satisfy her curiosity, and I'll put it into a way that she would understand. But I'm protecting her mind, and we have to do that too. And one of the crux things of the article about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs about protecting their children's minds is they know what the issue is. They're protecting their children's future, because they're going to be exposed to tech anyway, being in those families.
Because their creativity doesn't depend on technology.
No,
it's actually
unrelated.
Unrelated.
It's actually limiting, because what technology does is it is a evolution of a finite set of code, right? And it's very restrictive.
Yes, and what I was going to say is technology is actually the product of someone's creativity, not the cause of someone else's creativity. It's the other way around. You need someone that's creative away from technology to be able to develop something like technology.
Right. And of course, if we fast forward to an adult, you can have adults who see a new technology and then they create creative ideas. But the thing about it is we're talking about how the mind develops, and we want to
the order of things for a young mind to develop properly.
And we want not only the mind to develop, but we want the creativity to develop.
Yes.
Okay, so they have to work that mind like a muscle in order to get creativity. And of course, in a low-stress environment, like in peaceful parenting.
Yes, and I was going to say that a lot of the parents that give the kids, for example, a game or a phone when they're grocery shopping, is basically to give them something so that they can disengage altogether. Well, like their kid is like it's a distraction for the parent in a way. Here, let me give you something so that you don't bother me anymore.
Oh yeah, and of course the kids are going to hone in on that. Every time if the kid wants something,
oh yeah,
and the parent hands them a phone to distract them, then they say this is a pacifier.
Exactly. And so the thing is, in our case, when she was when she was really young, remember we would go to the grocery store, and the first section we would go is the book area. Yeah. And she would get a book, and then she would read that book while we did grocery shopping. Yes. But it wasn't like to disengage with her. We engage with her 24/7. Yes. We still say, okay, now we're gonna go. We read our list out loud. We're gonna get we need to get the flour. Let's go to the. It's like she knows what's going on, despite the fact that she might be immersed in her book. She still is knowing what's happening. Right. And we also interact with her. Says, what do you think? Shall we get this or should we not get this? Do you want to have this for dinner?
So,
blah, blah,
sometimes
blah.
she wanted to hold the list and cross things off.
So we're still engaging, but yet she's wanting to read a book. So
she'll actually start to do both. But again, we're the other thing is we want to get to a certain point. Correct. Here talking about what we're doing now when she's 10. But we introduced Mega Blocks at 2, but the thing about it is we would engage with her, playing blocks with her.
Playing blocks with her.
Okay.
And eventually she graduated, and we introduced the Legos. Okay.
About age 4, and this was specific. This, to me, I wanted to make sure that I got this in, and that is, we gave her a little package of Legos, and it came with a set of instructions. And one of the things I said, I says, okay, Annabelle, I know you want to play with this, and I know that you want to build a bunch of things, but let's build this according to the instructions first, and then you can build whatever you want to after. But let's build it together.
Exactly.
Right? And so we built it together. We read the instructions, and we basically taught her how to deal with a kit, how to deal with instructions, and making the connection between reading and building.
Exactly.
And so so the next little packet that she got, did it again. Let's read the instructions first, and then we build it, and then we can tear it off, and we can mix it with the other ones if we wanted to.
And then she graduated on where she would get a kit, and she would just build it the way it was by herself.
Right.
And then she would show us, and then she would show us the modifications and the changes.
That's right. That's right. So we set up a procedure for her that for months, anytime she get a new little kit, new little Lego kit, she would first read the instructions, and then occasionally she would ask us, "I'm really confused here. What is this telling me to do?" And so we'd help her with that until she had it on her own, and so we still hadn't really introduced her to screens. All right. Occasionally, of course, there is no TV except for like
no TV.
instructional videos. We
didn't mention that we have no cable TV.
Right. We did mention it, but we didn't go into it.
Yeah.
We didn't have. We got rid of our cable early on. We didn't. We only showed her like
we have educational DVDs,
nature documentaries,
and we would preview anything that are movies for entertainment purposes.
Right.
We would preview them. So we would own DVDs, and she was old enough that she knew how to work the DVD player. So
eventually, yes, she went to that.
She would play these things, but her favorite was always the either documentaries or things with teaching her something.
Oh yeah.
She liked the Nova.
She
movies.
liked the David Attenborough.
That's why she got into physics so much, and we had some really good.
It was Brian Greene.
Yeah,
Brian Cox.
She got into physics, and she really liked. There was one particular one about a mathematician that did the history of math. That was pretty good.
Was it Savoy? Was it?
Yeah, some.
Anyways, a famous mathematician.
Yeah, so. Really love those DVDs.
And they are entertaining. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they are entertaining. Keeps your attention span.
Well, some of the kids may not at first. It depends.
No, but the thing is and that's the thing that people don't realize is if you sit a couple of dishes in front of them and they'll pick the ones that they want to eat. But if they discover that there's a food called ice cream, then everything else doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's the ice cream. So if you have if you watch cartoons all day, then documentaries are boring.
Exactly. And not only that, but if you have to engage with your kid even when you're watching a movie together. And
this is the thing. Exactly. And this is the thing that people don't realize. You have to interact.
Yes.
Okay?
All the time.
And of course you have to go make dinner. Of course you have to do all those things. But sometimes interacting is asking questions about what she saw.
Yes.
I mean, once you see the documentary, you know what it's about. So you can bring it up and say, oh, I wonder, that bowerbird, why do you think he always picked blue for his nest?
Yes.
Things like that. And that spurs on ideas and questions and stuff like that. So that's really, you're developing a screen presence without giving them ice cream all the time.
So anyway, as she progressed and was getting older, she would actually ask for things. I remember one time she asked me for my phone. She was curious because I use my phone as a tool. I don't have games on there, like,
Right.
at all. I don't have any of these fancy apps or anything. I just have the basic apps that the phone came with. And so she found an interest. So I did hand her my phone at one time, but she was actually in discovery mode. It's like, oh, this is a device. What's in here? What she dealt into was the calculator,
Right.
the compass.
The camera.
She learned how to take pictures. She learned how to edit them. She took voice recordings. She did videos. Even when we were in the grocery store, she would make a video. Mommy, say hi. And
Yep.
she would make. So we're still interacting here. She's just discovering these tools.
Right.
That are really a learning moment. Now, if you had the games in there, that would be a completely different story.
And
so,
and there's a subtext to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that it is our phone.
Yes.
Okay, and that it's she has her toys,
Mm-hmm.
and those are her property, right?
Yeah.
We have our property. We respect her property.
Mm-hmm.
We don't punish her by taking away toys,
Mm-hmm.
because that is a violation of property rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since we respect her property, she respects our property. So when he says, okay, that's mommy's phone, it's time to give it back, and she just hands it over.
Exactly. And the thing is, because we use our phone that way too, she knows how we use our phone.
Right.
We're not the type of parent that's playing games on our phones. So because she sees that we use the calculator, she sees us use these other tools, so she knows, oh, these are just tools for them to be able to do things.
Right.
In the real world, it's not her seeing us play a game for being distracted, right?
Right.
So very, very, very different. Now another thing that we did is with the homeschooling. I did this. She was about age 7. I actually got her introduced to the Microsoft Office softwares.
We had an old laptop.
Yeah.
And we set it up, and it was no internet connection, and so it just had Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Paint.
The Microsoft Office things.
Right.
Everything. I even Access, but I didn't teach her Access yet because it was too advanced. So what I did is I started. There's a succession. Kids love to draw, right? So the first thing was Paint, because that would be fun to paint, and then eventually Word.
Right.
So then she was able to write now book reports or reports of anything.
Our stories. She's writing a story
stories.
about a cat.
So she was able to incorporate a picture from Paint that she created and write something about it on Word. Pretty simple. So she learned all those tools. I taught her the basics, very basics in Word, but then I told her, don't be afraid. Click on the buttons, because actually that's how I learned how to use Word. Nobody taught me how to use Word. I actually, when I was a kid, I would think maybe middle school. No, when did we have Word? Well, anyway, I think high school probably for us. I learned it on my own, so I knew that it was safe. That she needs to learn, and she did. She learned how to change the font and everything all by herself.
Right, and it's
and if she had questions or she made a mistake, she would call me, Mom, how do you fix this? And so eventually she became really independent with it.
Well, one of the things we were doing also that's not necessarily associated with this is we were doing game night. So we had games like Monopoly, and we had games like we introduced Yahtzee.
Yep.
And in an early age, I introduced with her checkers first, and then chess. And I taught her about the chess, and she actually got very interested in chess. And at the time you started introducing and you started getting going with the Word and Paint and Excel or PowerPoint, is the time that I was introducing chess.
Yes.
And then one time she said, Daddy, you want to play chess with me? And I said, well, really, I can't. Well, I couldn't at the time. I said, did you know that there's chess on your laptop? There is?
Exactly.
Yeah. I says, let me show it to you, right? And you can play against the computer, and you can set up the...
Yeah, because she wanted to practice to play chess.
Yes.
And so she was into chess so much that we thought we told her about the chess in her computer.
That's right.
And so she was now able to practice on her own.
And so I opened up, says, there's also a few other games. And she goes, computer games?
Yep.
I go, yeah, there's some, and there were the basic ones.
So
from,
very basic.
Yeah.
We don't have anything, or I still don't no internet connection,
right.
nothing.
So it's just like chess, solitaire,
mahjong tiles. It's stuff for the brain, basically.
Exactly.
And in limited amounts. It's not like she was there for hours.
Yes. So anyway, so she really took off with the chess, and also solitaire.
And at the same time, I'm also introducing PowerPoint, which she's very good at making her own presentations, which she did several presentations on her own. At age 7, nonetheless. Okay, so it's age 7 and 8 going on, and then Excel, which first simple list, right? A shopping list, which she actually printed when we went to the craft store. She would make her shopping list on Excel, we printed out, and that's what we took to the store.
That's right.
So
those were her introductions to tech.
As tools, right? And then later, okay, as her reports got more complex, now you have data.
That's right.
Now you have data, and so then I showed her, okay, you have data. This is how you do a bar chart with the data, or you can actually do a pie chart, and so those other things get introduced.
Right. So really, if you introduce tech as fun and distracting, right, you're not going to start. It's going to be hard to sell the idea.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to sell the idea of technology as a tool.
As a tool, and there's no learning whatsoever. It's just distraction and entertainment at that point. But if you use it, if you teach it as a tool, and it's fun as a tool, then they create projects that are based on learning, basically.
So as she's getting older, she I bought when she was 8. I think I bought you a tablet.
Yeah.
Right. And so it did have a paint brushing software. What was it called?
And it used a pen, so it was kind of like a different interaction for her to use a pen and be able to do brush strokes. It's called S Note. So
it was a Samsung. Yeah.
Yeah. So she did different style of drawings. They're beautiful drawings, which I then helped her integrate into her reports again on Word. So
right.
Anyway, and then
we traded in our phones with something else, and we had an old phone, and so we wanted to have 3 numbers for our home number. But the thing is we had an extra phone, and so we just kept that phone and called it our emergency phone. Okay, and so.
But we told her that
eventually
it would be her phone.
Eventually it would be her number, right?
Her number, her
and
phone.
So anyway, that's she looked at that and says, yes, okay, it's an emergency phone. Eventually it'll be mine. Blah blah blah.
And then later she discovered she could text.
Yes, she discovered.
And she started texting us. So in the house.
In the house, yes. And so a lot of emojis was sent.
A lot of cat emojis.
A lot of cat emojis were sent. A lot of smiles, a lot of hearts, a lot of stars, and so it was kind of fun. But she always put it back, because it was kept at a certain spot. The phone was.
And still no internet.
Still no internet.
But now, I guess at age 9, because she's 10 right now, so a year ago we started to show her YouTube videos, but always supervised.
Right. And it's as a learning thing. Hey, let me show you. Did you ever see, whatever thing, some documentary? And so we were able to pull it up on YouTube, and I'd show her. Because you can have a YouTube video that's like what you're looking for, and another one is some sort of parody that's kind of disgusting.
Yeah. You were really good at introducing her to new things. I was more of giving her the stuff that she needed, because I knew she was into origami, and then I thought, you know what, let me show her a video on how somebody did an origami, whatever animal it was.
Right.
And I would show her, and she would like, oh, that's really neat, I like that. Or another thing was, she loves to do crafts. What about because I don't know what to do with chenille stems or pipe cleaners, whatever they're called. And so I would pull up YouTube videos on how these people did amazing flowers with chenille stems. So I showed her that, and all of a sudden she's excited. She knows how to make really pretty flowers with chenille stems.
So anyway, in all this time, not only are we introducing this, but she has gone gangbusters with Legos.
Yes.
And she is going crazy. She has all these ideas and
all these kids.
all these kits, and we keep feeding her more and more Legos. And yes, honestly, it did get a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
But you know, we we bore with it.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, and then she was in Taekwondo, and we started her at early age 9, right?
Yep.
And so one of her Taekwondo friends was into Minecraft, and she
Yep.
mentioned Minecraft. She says, "Oh, someone's just into Minecraft," and so I don't know. At that time, I didn't know. I knew that there was Minecraft, but the thing is I never played it or anything like this. I mean, it's not like
I still don't know anything about Minecraft.
Well, I mean, back in the early '90s, I was a beta tester for a couple of games. And maybe somebody knows what Privateer, but that's an old game. But anyway.
So she asked about it.
She asked about it, and I said, "Well,
yeah."
I looked into it. I thought, "Oh, I think there's some really good tools to learn."
And then she found the books at the library.
Right.
There's books in the library that talk.
So she
about
read
Minecraft.
like almost 24 books on Minecraft.
She checked them out and she started reading about them. And here she is learning about everything Minecraft conceptually before even having played the game.
It was the instructions again.
Instructions
from like Legos.
And her learning something new on her own, independence, and again she's in.
And that's what we want to get to, okay? And this is the crux of the matter. What you're trying to do with homeschooling and with Montessori is the transition from directed learning to independent learning.
Independent learning.
Okay, and so, but if you keep trying to force make them read, make them do this, make them do all these other things, which is not Montessori, it's not peaceful parenting. It's through creativity.
Yes.
They will, if you keep forcing them, they're not going to do it on their own.
If they love to read, they are going to read a lot and therefore learn a lot of things on their own.
Right. So, I mean, right now she's pretty much learning on her own Japanese.
Yeah, I started with her together, but I got all the books and she just took off on her own.
Right. So anyway,
she's way ahead of me.
When we finally loaded in Minecraft on a new computer, that we promised on Christmas, but we gave her a new computer and we loaded Minecraft on there.
Bought her realm.
Bought her a realm, and she already knew a lot what to do, and she
took off with it.
And what I made sure is I told Adriana, says we are not going to give her any limitations on how long she's going to play.
Yep.
I wanted her to discover on her own limitations.
Correct.
Because it's about creativity. It's about having to self-regulate yourself. It's about having to. It's about a self. What is it I normally say? It's
self-regulation.
It's a learning on your own. It's a self. What's the word I'm thinking of? If it'll come to me in a minute,
okay.
but the thing about it is it's when you make a mistake on your own and you learn from it. Okay, so self-correcting behavior.
Yes.
Okay, so self-correcting behavior is some of the most solid lessons you can learn in life.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not going to do that again. So I wanted her to. Because if I gave her limitations, then it's going to be like I'm the authority figure that is limiting something that is really fun.
Exactly.
Okay, and I gave no reason why.
Not only that, but we've introduced technology all this time as tools, and all of a sudden there's something
that's fun.
That's fun, yes.
Now, of course, there's lessons to be learned in Minecraft, and she did learn them.
And there's some learning tools in there too.
Right, and so what I wanted to do is, if I let her discover her limitations, and then I go back to says, oh, you're really tired. That you. How long did you play? I said, well, I played this much of time. I said, well, how do you feel about that? I mean, you kind of miss this and this. It's like, you know, it's like, I says, it can be pretty addicting, can it? Yeah, it can be pretty addicting.
Mm-hmm.
And so she discovers it on the lessons on her own, and I'm the one guiding her after the fact. And so I don't have to force her into a certain thing. What I'm just doing is guiding her discovery of things.
So because we delayed all this and waited to basically she was 10,
Right.
she has the skills now to self-regulate and.
Right. So the Minecraft came when she was just about to turn 10. Right. And so now. And
she's become an expert in a short period of time. It's not like because we delayed it so long that she struggles with it. On the contrary, she just takes off with it and learns it in no time. Right. So, like we were saying before, is everything is so user friendly, and kids are able to pick it up. It's like there's no time. If you delay technology, it doesn't mean they're going to get behind at all.
Well, one of the things I noticed is I went and watched her a little bit, stood over as this is the other day, and I'm seeing her typing away and typing on command lines.
Yes.
Okay, and reading the dialogue box and stuff like that, and it's like she's really fast.
Yes.
And it's like all this time she totally caught up on any sort of speed or anything else that if we were to introduce it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But no, she's already caught up with all that speed and competency. But she has a base of being around people and about relationships.
Yep.
Right. So that's the development that we're wanting.
She has the responsibility.
She has it. Yes.
To be able to tackle something like this.
Right.
So she's developed the skills that we've given her, and so she's more responsible with these kind of things. And so, anyway, she started really full force on Minecraft, right? Because it was pretty new, so of course she went full force. Did probably a lot of it. Also, she got more books at the library, now specifically on hacks, so from Minecraft. And different
cheats and hacks and stuff like this.
And so she asked for YouTube videos every once in a while because she wants to watch, like, for example, everything you need to know about polar bears on Minecraft. She'll ask about YouTube videos about, so I'll show her that.
And then I showed her a video on this guy who built in Minecraft a cellular phone that could actually make calls to an actual cellular phone outside of Minecraft.
Mm-hmm. And so now
and use the camera feature.
Good grief.
So there's a virtual
coming to the real.
There's a virtual Minecraft phone that's interacting, and I showed her this video.
Uh-huh.
And another guy who invented in Minecraft a processor.
Yeah, let's back up.
Okay.
For some people who don't know Minecraft, this is the capability that it has, and it kind of blew my mind because I didn't know knew much about it because I'm not much of a game person. So, not as far as computer games. Anyway, there are engineers and even engineering companies that build devices in Minecraft.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, wow. And when I learned that, I thought, I can teach Annabelle some engineering things in there. And so what's basically happened recently is she's not on Minecraft as much as she was in the beginning because she realized she was missing out on other things. So she's now regulating her time even more so, where she'll spend some time doing Minecraft, and then she's done. She'll go to her bedroom and read or play with Legos, and sometimes she'll come see us and says, hey, you guys want to do something together or whatever?
That's right. And the other day she says, well, I'm kind of done for Minecraft for today. Exactly.
And so now what's happening, because we have been left out of the equation a little bit, okay? Yes. Because she has someone she has Minecraft play dates with. And so now what's happening is we showed some interest with her in Minecraft. We're saying now, I wanna be able to get on there and do Minecraft with you. And so now tell them what you told her. You wanted to build what?
I said, I would really like for you to teach me how to I want to build a house in Minecraft. Will you teach me how to play?
Exactly.
And so just like with the Legos,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like with the Mega Blocks, I'm interacting
You're
with her.
interacting with it.
Okay.
And
And so now I want her to teach me because again, eventually down the road, it's self-directed learning, and she has to become a teacher of what she learns.
Exactly.
So I'm actually saying, show me what you learned. So I'm interested, and so she says, okay, and she comes back later, says, okay, I built you a realm,
A world.
a
Sorry.
world, a world.
Mm-hmm.
I built you a world. And I got one for you, Mommy, too. And you said,
Yeah, because I had told her also. Oh, I want to actually do something with you. But I told her I'm more into the engineering aspect. I want to build devices in there. That to me was really awesome because I had told her I want to start an engineering club with her and stuff like this. And so to me, this is like, let me do one just her and me,
right,
and give her some engineering. Because to me, what I wanted to do, I'll tell you that is do something with logic because I that's one of my favorite things is doing with logic.
Oh yeah, you can totally
with flip flops and all that stuff. So, and then the next thing she told us that she built World for us, and she gave us the books too. Here, Daddy, you need to read these.
Yeah. Here's your 3 books to read. This will tell you everything you need to know about building a house.
And she gave me everything about redstone. So right now I'm in the first few pages where it's telling me what redstone is. So.
So she's got the formula down.
Yes.
About she's got the formula down about reading first to understand and then use that as an application.
Exactly.
And so anyway.
And so now that she's seen, and not only that, but now that she's seen that black screen where she's actually writing code, because writing commands is part of writing code. So, and now she's referring back to other books we've given her that have shown her about codes that she didn't really understand fully.
Yes, there's some great books on Amazon. One of them is computational fairy tales, and it's a clever little book, and it goes through a fairy tale where they have to solve problems, and the problems reference back to it references back to making code and stuff like this. But anyway,
so that's where we are.
Yes,
currently.
So she actually has started to read that back again, and she's making a connection on her own between Minecraft and the computational fairy tales.
Exactly.
And so it's really fantastic, that how it's all working out. Now, of course, we've talked at length about our experiences in introducing tech and screens and stuff like this, and about protecting child's minds.
Mm-hmm.
You may have other experiences too. This has been our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned about the article about the tech giants.
Mm-hmm.
They limit their kids from tech. There's a reason for this.
Yes.
There's a reason why we limit, and it all has to do with how the brain develops, how relationships are built with the 3D world, with the human world, about human connections, and that's what we want to really stress in this.
Yes. You want to make sure that they have the skills, the skills that give them a strong foundation so that they can tackle technology correctly.
And the fact that we have to go from self-directed from directed learning to self-directed learning.
Yes.
And so that's what we want to really communicate with you guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate your time. I know this has been a long one, but hopefully you've heard some things to help you out and give some encouragement on how to sort some of these problems out with introducing tech to kids. Thank you, guys.
If you have any questions, you can contact us. We'd be glad to help or give you suggestions and ideas. Also, if you have some suggestions and ideas for us, please let us know.
And thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.